Hi, I'm Amy Palmer with Knitsing Magazine. Today we're going to talk about how to read a lace chart. So lace charts are used almost everywhere in knitting nowadays. And you can see in this shawl from Corinna Ferguson from her designer collection in Knitsing Spring, the edge here is worked in a lace chart. We also used a lace chart for Cassie Castillo's Hop Tree scarf from Knitsing Winter 2013. And I'm going to use this chart to demonstrate how to read a lace chart today. So the first thing to look at is the chart key, and that's these symbols explaining what each box says on the actual chart. So here we've abbreviated the word knit with the letter K, and RS stands for right side. So on the blank boxes that you'll see down here, we're going to knit when we're on the right side of the work. We've abbreviated the word purl with a P, and WS stands for wrong side. So when we're working on the wrong side of the work, we're going to purl the stitches that have a blank box. So this one box is telling you 2 bits of information depending on which side of the chart you're working on. This is a knit 2 together symbol. It's a comma decrease, and I'll demonstrate that for you in just a second. This box is telling us to knit on the wrong side. So where we see these, we're going to knit those stitches when we're working this on the wrong side, when we're working back and forth in rows. The circle stands for YO, or yarn over, and it just means we're going to bring the yarn over the needle. The red box is the pattern repeat, and that means if we were going to make the entire scarf, we would work these stitches within the red box over and over until we reach the end of the pattern. So, to demonstrate, this is the swatch worked flat. It's used on a slightly smaller yarn, so you can see the stitches a little differently. But you can see how after a few rows, the pattern is coming in and coming back out and creating this very distinctive feather and fan pattern. So to knit this, I'm going to look at my chart, and when we start reading charts, we read from the bottom to the top, and we start from the right corner and work our way to the left. So this has me knit the first 6 stitches on the right side. So I'm going to knit 6 stitches. Five and 6. And so then it has me do a knit 2 together 3 times. So what this tells me is that I'm working 6 stitches into these decreases, and I'll end up with 3 stitches afterwards. So that's knitting 2 together. There's 2 stitches being worked 3 times. So that's 6 stitches total. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to knit these 2 together. And I'm going to knit 2 more together. And then I'm going to knit 2 more together. So those stitches that I just worked correspond to these 3 symbols right here. The next symbol is for a yarn over. This is sometimes also called a yarn forward because you're bringing the yarn forward between the needles and then back around. And that's a yarn over. So then I'm going to knit the next stitch. And you can just knit straight from there. And what it does is it creates this small little loop down here. And it has me do another yarn over and then knit another stitch. Do another yarn over, knit another stitch, do another yarn over, knit another stitch, yarn over, knit, yarn over, knit, and then it has me do 3 more knit 2 together stitches. So it's the same like I did here. I'm just going to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to knit these 2 stitches together. I'm going to knit these 2 stitches together, and then I'm going to knit these 2 stitches together. If I was working this over a larger swatch, I would keep working this pattern as it's told for the pattern repeat, but instead I'm just going to knit these last 6 stitches. So now when I work backwards, what you do with reading lace charts is you work, when you're working flat, you go from left to right on the wrong side rows. So here, my first 6 stitches on the wrong side were knit, but because this chart says to purl on the wrong side, I'm going to purl these first 6 stitches. Five and 6. Now, this part of the chart has these little dots in the box, and that tells me that I'm supposed to knit these stitches when I'm on the wrong side. So I'm going to take the yarn back between the needles, and I'm just going to knit these 18 stitches. And what this is doing, as you see it on the swatch, is it's creating these purl bumps, this garter ridge, to give some definition between the stitch repeats. And then once I'm done with the box, I come over here and I am purling these next 6 stitches. And so with that, I have worked the first 2 rows of the chart. And so you can see how my stitches are lining up just like they did in the swatch. Now, if I wanted to convert this pattern to the round, which you can do with some lace charts, it's going to be pretty much the same thing, except we're going to reverse some small parts of the things. So as you see here, I've knit this swatch in the round, and it looks exactly the same as it did flat. So let me show you how I did that. So I've worked this first row at this point. I'm just going to finish working this row. So I'm starting with the red box because I'm repeating the pattern around. So I'm going to knit 2 together, knit 2 together, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, knit 1, and continue as I did when I was working this flat. And I'm going to do the knit 2 togethers again. And now I'm going to work the 6 stitches to the end, which are over here. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So on the flat swatch, what I would do is I would start reading from here. But because I'm working this in the round, I'm going to start with over here again. So when you work stitch patterns in the round, you're always working from the right side. You're still working from the bottom to the top, but instead of switching back and forth, you just keep working from the right side as you go up. So I'm going to knit these 6 stitches. 6. And now here the pattern would have me knit on the wrong side, but since I'm still working on the right side, I'm going to reverse it. And we know that the reverse stitch of a knit stitch is the purl stitch. So anytime you want to purl on the wrong side, you're going to knit on the right side. Or in this case, since I want to knit on the wrong side, I'm going to purl on the right side. So I'm bringing the yarn forward to purl, and I'm just going to work these stitches as purl stitches all the way down. And you can see that purling these stitches on the right side has created that garter stitch rib, or that garter stitch ridge that we have here as we did when we worked flat. So that's the basics of reading a lace chart, and I hope this will help you tackle your next lace project.